Loading up as I speak. While that's loading up, we'll get all the necessary stuff, telemetry, lap data, and track map. There we are. So, alright, audio is working as it should. The stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. That's absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 3 of the PlayStation Pacific Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo Nazionale Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Constructed in 1922, the fabled Temple of Speed is one of the most iconic cornerstones on any Formula One schedule. It celebrates its 100th anniversary this year, a momentous achievement, especially considering that only one other currently existing circuit has achieved such a feat, the world-renowned Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Monza is a simple circuit of 11 corners and a length of 5.79 kilometers. But beware, hidden within the simplicity of the circuit lies nasty hazards that can catch drivers out at a moment's notice. There are tall, unforgiving inside curbs, both in Variante Rettifiglio and Variante della Roggia, that, if touched, will vault the car up into the air. There is the massive gravel trap looming on the outside of the Lesmo curves, waiting to catch someone out. And finally, the most demanding part of all, Variante Ascari, a high-speed left-right-left complex that forces the car to be right on the edge of grid. Going over that edge will result in a spin, which more often than not results in a race-ending accident. DRS trains are going to be a major topic of conversation during this race. When they start to form, overtaking becomes incredibly difficult. As a result, qualifying is going to be an important factor for achieving victory today. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race at Zandvoort. Only a single incident report between Gilles and Isaac Kush. The result was a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point for Isaac Kush. As a result, he would go from P9 to P12 in the final results. In the Drivers' Championship, GeForce Crichton is leading the way on 54 points, followed by GeForce Ford on 47, then Leo on 43. It's a bit of a gap back to P4, which is Plevs on 24 points. He's currently 19 points behind GeForce Leo, so top 3 already starting to form. Spicy is next in P5 on 20 points, followed by Sire Luke in P6, then Ferrari Pro, Spilly, Bags Liddell, and 10 Sandals rounds out the top 10. In the Constructors, McLaren are leading on 63 points, followed by Ferrari on 60, then Mercedes-Benz on 58. P4 is Alpine on 43, followed by Williams on 22, Alfa Romeo on 20, Red Bull are next on 19, followed by Haas on 16, Aston Martin on 14, and at the bottom of the table is AlphaTauri on 13 points. But that's pretty much it in terms of news. I can now introduce my co-commentator for this evening, who is once again GeForce Pato. And Pato, I think you've got a few things you would like to say.
Buongiorno a tutti ragazzi e benvenuti nel Tempio della Velocità. Welcome to Monza. Welcome Lane. Always a pleasure to be here. And yeah, home Grand Prix for me. So I'm really looking forward for this race. And I'm obviously cheering for some red cars. I don't know if you know the name of them, like if you've heard them.
Alfa Romeo, maybe? Oh, okay, right. Yeah, fair enough.
You know, and well, yeah, I'm really looking forward for this race. As you said, like it looks like a simple track, Monza, but it's definitely not.
Oh,
because
no
the curbs are really deadly, and then you really need to choose like the right setup because you really want to have some more downforce than usual in quali, because the Lesmo corners and Ascari really need a lot of downforce, even Parabolica. But then in the race, you want to have basically a rocket ship behind you, and this is gonna be a hard choice. And I'll tell you what, this race is gonna rain during the race at some point. I'm not gonna tell you when, but it is gonna race. It is gonna rain. Sorry.
Interesting news report there. Well, mixed conditions always spices things up. And I imagine here at Monza will spice things up quite a bit more because, as you mentioned, these guys won't be running a lot of wing here Monza. I imagine setups are going to be revolving around something like a 1-0, maybe 2-0 wings if you're wanting a little more front-end downforce. If the rain comes around, then, yeah, those low downforce setups aren't going to feel too good in the wet. That's for sure. So that would make things incredibly interesting. But as of right now, we got a Ferrari on pole position. That's G-Force Ford with a 1 minute 19.143. You reckon we might see an 18 tonight? Or has Visions had a moment at the exit of Ascari? Oh dear.
Well, we know what these drivers are capable of. Especially, I would say, Ford, Crichton, Leo. Let's not forget about Leo. And
speaking of which, he's just spun at Parabolica.
I'm sorry, Leo.
Commentator's curse in full swing.
Commentator's curse to an English team. That's not, Anyway, just kidding, Leo.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool to see an 18. But as of right now, the times already are really rapid. Low 19s from both Ford and Crichton. Next is I Contrast in P3 with a 1 minute 19.5. As we're going to ride on board with Spilly here, give you a proper tour of this incredibly legendary racetrack. Down the main straightaway towards Variante, Vertifilio, turns 1 and 2. Down to second gear, keeping it in second for turn 2. Doesn't bother to short shift on the exit, uses plenty of power at the exit of the first chicane. Now around Curva Grande, turn 3. Absolutely flat out through this right-hander. Keeps it nice and narrow all the way around the curve. Now into Variante della Roggia, turns 4 and 5. You have to be careful of those orange sausage curves at each apex. Really, really nasty. Do not touch. Around the first Lesmo curve. Now heading towards turn 7, the second Lesmo curve, an important corner to get right, as it dictates how much speed you carry down this straightaway towards Variante Ascari. He's heading up towards the middle sector split. He's just crossed it now into this famous chicane. Turn 8, turn 9, into turn 10, where we saw Vision lose it a few moments ago, and I imagine Vision isn't going to be the only driver to lose it out of Ascari. Now heading down towards what could be the most important corner on the racetrack, Parabolica, because how well you go through this corner dictates how much speed you carry down the main straightaway. But Spilly will have it up towards the line. It's a 20 flat from Spilly. He goes P12 with that lap time, just outside of the top 10. Now,
yeah, I was watching Spilly's lap and he made some mistakes at the Della Roggia chicane, and I think he could have got Ascari a bit more quicker in terms of corner speed. But he knows he's got time to gain, so as a first run, it's not that bad actually.
Now Bags getting out of the way there as Darren 11 makes his way into the first Lesmo. In fact, I want to take a look at Bags' car, because this is the first time in spectator view I get to see of this newly liveried Ferrari. It's featuring some yellow highlights over the car. You can see a yellow helmet as well, as Bags is in full-on sim mode. Yellow helmet with the new yellow design. It's meant to pay tribute to Ferrari's 75th anniversary, or rather 75 years of being a manufacturer of automobiles. A pretty momentous occasion, has to be said, for Ferrari, considering that when they first began, they were just merely a racing team. Now they're a full-on automaker in the world, a well-recognized automaker at that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a fun fact. Do you know why yellow is there? Because Modena, which is the city which is close to Maranello, on his municipality colors, it's got yellow and blue. So yellow means Modena, which is like the biggest city which is close to Maranello. That is why they chose yellow.
That's a nice little tidbit there. Thanks for that piece of information, Pato. I didn't know. I thought it just because of the yellow within the Ferrari insignia, within the badge. No,
that's a consequence of it.
Fair enough. As I Contrast is making his way around Parabolica, turn 11 on this race course. Nice and controlled through the right-hander. as he actually ducks back into pit lane. So he wasn't happy with the final sector. He was up by a tenth and a half to the middle sector, but evidently he wasn't happy with the final part of the lap. Grammy on a flying lap, making his way around Curva Grande. Tenth Sandals heading into Variante della Roggia, turns 4 and 5, and losing control of the car. That is the inside curb at full swing at the Della Roggia chicane. You really do have to avoid those orange curbs. They are nasty pieces of work, but Tent did a really good job saving that car. Chip appears to be on an in-lap. Crichton is a little bit down to the middle sector, but he's heading up towards the line. Can he improve? Let's find out. Crichton crosses the line, does improve by 79 thousandths, stays P3. Leo appears to be on an in-lap. 40 just might be on a flying lap. We're right on board. He's featuring a lovely yellow helmet with an Italian flag on the top as well. That is a really, really nice touch there from Ford. 10 out of 10 for that helmet. Out to the opening chicane, heading up towards Curva Grande. Absolutely flat out, keeping as close as he can to the inside of the racetrack as he heads up towards turns 4 and 5. Entry speed 333 kilometers an hour. Apex speed at about 120 at turn 4. Gets a lovely run out of the chicane as he heads into the Lesmo curves. Through the first curve, turn 6. Now heading up towards turn 7. Just a slight dip on the brake ring here. Down to 5th gear. Then short shifting it up to 6th on the exit. He has DRS open and he's heading towards Variante Ascari. Look at the peak speed, 346 kilometers an hour, bringing it down to 6th gear, using a healthy amount of curb, just kissing the apex at turn 10 as well, not using too much curb. Perfect racing line there from 40 as he heads into Parabolica, the final corner, 6th gear, back up to full throttle, using a little bit of the AstroTurf on the outside, up towards the line, and 40 will set an 18.959. Ha! So he's into the 18s. How about that?
And Ford has sent Monza into raptures, basically, at the moment.
If we were here at Monza, yeah, we would hear the entirety of Italy just erupt. It would be absolutely fantastic to actually witness in real life, but unfortunately the virtual crowd is a bit silent, not too much cheering for whatever reason, as Ferrari Pro is getting ready, ACW is getting ready, same with Wogboy. Spilly's on the flying lap. He's up by 24 thousandths to the first sector. He's found a fair bit of time in the middle. He's up by 2.5 tenths through the Ascari chicane, heading down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. He'll shift it into top gear and prepare himself for the final corner. We'll see entry speeds of up and over 335 kilometers an hour. Brings it down to 5th gear, back on the accelerator, brings it up to 6th gear, 7th gear. Heading up towards the line now for Spilly. He will improve, and he jumps up to P9 with a 1 minute 19.714. So he's into the top 10, just behind his teammate Grimmy.
And I was watching actually the two Mercedes and the two Ferraris towing each other. Gilles gave Crichton a tow at the Seraglio turn, basically after the two Lesmos, and Bags was helping Ford towards the main straight. And I just got a text from one driver actually from Gilles, who told me that it's his 100th race spec race.
Oh yes, that's right. He did mention that in the Discord. This is a 100th race for Gilles, and for one other driver as well. I'm pretty certain he made that point somewhere in the Discord. I'll quickly try and find it. I know Gilles is one. I was going to mention that, but I completely forgot. See if I can actually find it. If I scroll up.
In the meantime, my contrast gets fourth with a...
Yes, 19.3. He's currently a 10th off Crichton, who was just coming to the end of a flying lap. No, he can't be. And it must be a preparation lap that he was on. He's coming out of Parabolica and heading down the main straight. No, he's not. He's going down pit lane. So he's going to come in, put on another set of soft compound tyres, get out again. Or he's going to get held up by his teammate, though, which will cost him a few seconds. But he should have enough time on the clock to get the car back into his garage and set another lap.
Yeah, he
ACW
will.
has jumped up to P7 as well with a 19.6. He'll come into pit lane shortly. Chip's getting ready. Grimmy beginning a flying lap, heading down towards Rectifilio, bringing it down to second gear, short shifting to third, back down to second, then back up to third gear as he exits turn 2 and heads around Curva Grande. Now, Ferrari Pro doesn't appear to be on a flying lap. Currently P10. Tent Sandals beginning a flying lap. He's heading down towards turns 1 and 2, bringing it down to second gear, clipping the first apex well, clipping the second apex pretty well as he heads up towards Curva Grande. Grimmy's up by just over a tenth to the first sector. He's heading around the second Lesmo down the straightaway towards turn 8. He'll open DRS. There's a Red Bull in front getting their tyres up to temperature. Grimmy will get a slight slipstream thanks to that McLaren. It has to be G-Force Leo because Spicy is still in the pit lane as Grimmy's up by almost a tenth and a half to the middle sector. Now the back straightaway and Parabolica remains. He'll drag the car over to the left-hand side of the circuit, try and open up the final right-hander, braking at the 50 board, bringing it down to 5th gear, short shifting up to 6th. Doesn't drag the car as wide as other drivers that I've seen, so he doesn't use the full width of the circuit, but he carries nice speed, and he jumps up to P5 with that lap. 1 minute 19.369. G-Force Leo now making his way down the main straightaway. Currently P2 with a 119.151. Can he crack into the 18s? Can he challenge G-Force Ford at the top of the table? He clobbered the inside curb at turn 2 there. I did notice his car did go up into the edges ever so slightly around Curva Grande, heading up towards... he's actually backed out of the lap. I just noticed he's turned off his battery. So he's going to bail out of this and have another go in a lap's time. Grimmy, I think, is getting out of the way. I think his session is pretty much over. Spicy getting ready. Darren 11 getting ready. Same with Contrast and Crichton. 40 getting out of the way of his teammate Bags Liddell, who is currently 19th place. Not a great qualifying from Bags, but he's going to complete a flying lap here as Wogboy's retired from the session. And he jumps up to P10, Bags. He's giving a tow to his teammate as well. We're right on board with Bags. Look at this teamwork here from Ferrari. What beautiful stuff. And there goes Ford into the opening chicane. Crichton, he'll be getting ready to set a flying lap. Same with Leo. 40 making his way around Curva Grande. Turn 3, shifting it up into top gear. Now heading towards Variante della Roggia. The first sector says for 40 he's up by a tenth. So the teamwork has made the dream work for Ferrari. He has found time to the opening sector. Leo, he's making his way through the opening sector as I speak. He's heading towards turns 1 and 2, bringing it down to third gear, not bothering to use second gear. Leo, he gets lovely drive out of the chicane. Crichton's making his way around turn 3. He's heading up towards the first sector split. The clock says for the championship leader, he's up by 74 thousandths. For Leo, he's up by 72.
Fordy's on fire. He's almost 3 temps up in the second sector.
He was purple. I did notice that to the middle sector on the mini-map. He was up by almost 3/10. He just needs to nail Parabolica now. Back on the accelerator, using plenty of the track on the outside there. Now heading back onto the main straightaway, up towards the line for 40. It's a 18.7. He improves by just over 2/10. Leo's up by a tenth to the middle sector. That's not enough to challenge 40. He could get into the 18s though. Crichton though, I didn't get to catch what his middle sector looked like. He's got one more sector to get through. Around Parabolica, the final corner on the racetrack. Back onto the main straightaway, keeping it nice and narrow on the exit, up towards the line. It's a 19.1, it's not enough. For Leo, it's a 19.1 as well. He lost time in the final sector. So 40 appears to be the only...
Watch out for contrast because he can jump Crichton and Leo if he gets a good lap.
He does.
Oh, that's really close.
It is insanely close. 0.04 of a second separating P2 and 3 at the end of qualifying. So contrast will start on the front row.
What a lap from the AlphaTauri.
And what a bigger lap from 40. 1 minute 18.722. He is well clear of contrast in P2. Well clear.
2 Italian cars in first row of the grid.
That's true. That is very true. So it is an all-Italian front row. It's not quite the Italian cars you would expect. A Ferrari and an AlphaTauri. Rightio. Results from qualifying. It's a statement from Ford, putting it on pole position by 3/10 to high contrast in P2. Leo's the next car in P3, followed by Crichton. Darren 11, solid qualifying from him, P5, followed by Grimmy in P6, and Spicy in 7th. Vision in 8th, followed by Plebs in 9th, and ACW rounds out the top 10. Chip is next, followed by Bags Liddell, then Ferrari Pro, Spilly, 10th Sandals, Wogboy, Hilles, Karma, Zach, and Sire Luke will start from the back of the grid in 20th. There we are. Whole field separated by 1.1 seconds at the end of qualifying. That's Monza.
And considering Ford was 3 times faster than P2, basically the whole field is in less than a second. They're separated by like 8 tenths.
That is a huge lap from Ford to pull out that much time to everybody else. But he had help from his teammate Bags down the main straightaway. He found a whole 10th in the opening sector. And that could not have been done without his teammate. So, like I said before, teamwork made the dream work. And it's a Ferrari on pole. There's a session counter, so we're counting down towards the start of the formation lap. Strategy here is like every other racetrack, isn't it? It's medium hard or hard medium, I think. So should be fairly straightforward for the race. It'll be interesting to see who starts on what tyre.
It's going to be interesting. When is it going to rain?
Oh yes, that's true. I
think everyone will start on hards. I guess everyone will choose the hards. I don't know. Let's see.
Let's have a look. See. Yeah, it's fairly convincing towards the hard demographic, though there are some drivers on the medium tyre. And I do notice a message from KD in the chat. 80% chance of rain 30 minutes into the race. So it won't be coming around till about halfway, maybe a bit after halfway. If that's the case, then yeah, the hard tyre is probably the go-to for the start of this race.
Yeah, especially because you need to consider that Monza is a really long track, but lap times are really, really short.
Yeah.
So a race can end up in, a 50% race can end up in like 37, 38 minutes.
Yeah.
So it depends whether there's a safety car or not, because of course the safety car will make the pace slower.
Yep.
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, like, the medium runners are going to struggle a lot to get to the point where, like, there will be a crossover point, basically, between the wet and the slick tires.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be really interesting. And also, I don't know if Ford is got a drive setup for this, because I think, you know, you also need to think that all the drivers saw the weather, like, before qualifying, so maybe they had, like, some setup changes accordingly.
Perhaps.
And then, yeah, it's going to be really interesting, actually, to see what is going to happen.
And I do believe as well, for this series, we run approximate weather. So although it says it's going to come in 30 minutes, it may come earlier, it may not come at all. So you have to keep that in mind. We'll do a quick rundown of the grid. We got Ford on pole on the hard tyre, followed by Contrast also on the hard tyre. Same with GeForce Leo, Crichton and Darren 11. First driver on the mediums is Grimmy in P6. Behind him is Spicy on the hard tyre. Vision is in P8 on the mediums. Ples P9 on the hard tyre. ACW on the medium tyre, rounding out the top 10. Chip is next on the hards, followed by Bags on the mediums and Ferrari Pro on the mediums. Spilly, 10th, who is around, backwards, is on the hard tyre. Wogboy's on the hard tyre. Hilles is on the mediums. Karma's on the hards. Zach's on the hards. And Luke is on the medium compound tyre. And that's a Mercedes around as well. That's Hilles. Oh dear. Well, all the drivers are lined up ready to go. We'll see if we can't get a nice angle of the start. We're not going to get a nice angle of the start.
P5. Just P5.
Well, it's lights out and away we go here at Monza. It's a nice start from Ford, heading down towards turn 1. Oh, it's a great start from Crichton, though. He's trying to fight down the inside into the Rettifilio chicane. Can he send it in deep? He's trying. Contrast is fighting 40 as well through turn 2. Contrast gets the lead around the outside of turn 2, heading towards Curva Grande. Crichton's into P2. Ford's down to 3rd. Around turn 3 we go. Yellow flags are out. It is Karma in the Haas who has lost control at turn 2. Crichton's trying to get temperature into his tyres. Leo managing 4th place right now. Going wide is Darren 11. He's costing everyone time. The top 4 pull away. Into the wall goes Grammy big time. Oh my goodness, he hit the wall hard and he's plummeted down to 19th place. Around the 2 Lesmo curves goes the midfield. Everybody else doing pretty well on the start of this race, keeping out of trouble, but we do have incidents. Karma had a moment at turn 2 and Grammy put it into the wall coming out of turn 5. Dear oh dear. But yeah, Darren had a poor run through Variante della Roggia, and you can see the top 4 have now got a 1 second margin already. Yellow flags are out again. It is Hilles. Oh dear. So yeah, a few drivers get into trouble early, and they need a bit of luck to go their way in order to catch up. But it's Contrast who leads. Crichton 2nd, Ford in 3rd, followed by Leo and Darren 11, who is back to within 1 second. As Crichton's having a look around the long way at turn 1, he'll have the inside line at turn 2, and he now takes the lead. What a manoeuvre.
What a move.
Ho, ho. Around the outside of turn 1, he made that stick. Awesome move.
That was a Danny Rick-esque move.
Oh, absolutely. As 40, he's going to have a go here. Contrast will have the inside line at turn 5. But, oh, as 40 has a bit of a moment, but he's in front of Contrast. Now Leo is in the fight, going round the outside of the first Lesmo curve. Oh, contact between the 2 cars, exiting the first Lesmo, and Leo gets in front. Now Contrast is in the clutches of Darren 11 in the Alfa Romeo, but it seems that Contrast has better straight line speed heading towards Variante Ascari. It seems that Ferrari Pro as well has overtaken Bags Liddell. That was for 11th place. Down the back straightaway we go towards Parabolica for the 2nd time. What a dramatic second lap we've had. Battles galore, and Contrast has been royally shafted. He was leading at the start of the lap. He's now 4th. He's got a bit of work to do now.
Both Crichton and Ford knew they needed to be aggressive, and now watch out for Ford because it's got a good run.
Here we go. He's looking to the inside, but the Mercedes and Ferrari are even in straight line speed as they head into turn 1. 40 just didn't have the momentum to try and pass the race leader Crichton. Leo now closes in on the back of the Ferrari as well. Off the circuit is Chip in the Williams. He tumbles down the order to 16th position. He had to cut the track at turn 2, I believe, from what I saw briefly. But yeah, he's now down in 16th place with a bit of work to do. Through Variante della Roggia, these fellas keeping out of trouble, relatively speaking, as they head around the first Lesmo curve up towards the 2nd Lesmo curve. All of these guys are in essentially one massive train. So all of them are going to have DRS, except for the guy at the very front of it, Crichton.
Exactly. Actually, the scrap that Contrast, Ford and Crichton had helped all the whole field actually to catch up.
Yep.
Because in the beginning of lap 2, Darren 11 was already 1.4 seconds behind Leo at the time.
Yep.
So that one has helped all the other guys to catch up and get into the DRS train. This is going to be interesting.
Heading out to Parabolica, 40 can now line up Crichton for a pass here. He switches on the battery just briefly. He'll also switch on DRS, and look at the overspeed Ford has compared to Crichton. Crichton can't fight that. As they head into the opening chicane, Ford takes the lead through turn 2. Now heading towards Curva Grande, 40 gets a nice run and pulls away ever so slightly from Crichton. Heading around the famous right-hander towards Variante della Roggia. Crichton's not really in a position to attack. He's too far away. Vision, meanwhile, is closing in on Spicy, trying to look around the long way into turn 4. No way, he gets it done. He gets it done. What a manoeuvre from the Aston Martin driver.
Move.
Around the outside at turn 4. Well, granted, Spicy raced him very respectfully, gave him room, but Still, and I know Vision's on the medium compound tyre, which will have an edge at the start of this race. But he's making the most of it. He's into P6. And here comes ACW as well, challenging Spicy down towards Variante Ascari. Not close enough to challenge at turn 8. He just needs a nice run out of turn 10, down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. Now, Ferrari Pro is on the back of Plevs, heading towards Parabolica. Not quite close enough to attack, though, I think. He has to stay behind. Yeah, it's one massive train. P1 all the way down to P12. It's a long, long train. And it's a 1.7 second gap between Spilly and Wogboy.
We're seeing a lot of battles, actually. Really good one.
As Wogsboy's been overtaken by 2 cars, he's dropped down from 13th to 15th, and that was thanks to him not having DRS down the main straightaway. He was basically a sitting duck compared to Zach in 10th. So Zach's now into P13, 10th up into P14. Through Variante Della Roggia, the Ferrari goes airborne ever so slightly as Ford cuts all of turn 4 around turn 6, heading towards turn 7. The gap's 0.4 of a second between these two. Don't think Crichton can attack here. I don't think he really wants to at this stage as Grimmy sets a new fastest lap with a 22.3 down towards turn 8. Crichton close, not close enough to attack into turn 8, around turn 9. Now into turn 10. Leo's right behind this as well. There's a bit of a gap back to Contrast, about 0.7 between Leo and Contrast, but Contrast is still very much in this. Now into Parabolica, turn 11. Now, I don't think Crichton is still in a position to attack here. I think at this stage, Crichton will just try and follow 40 around, not try and battle him too much.
Yeah, I agree, actually. And it's actually one of the first times we see Crichton having more battery than anyone else. Which is like something really uncommon. But on this track, actually, if you've got DRS, you don't need to use battery, because then you will get overlap and then you will kind of be forced to overtake. So...
Oh, it's Crichton. He's not letting the pressure up, though. He might not be attacking, but he is trying to make 40 create a mistake.
Yes.
So, it's still very good driving going on here. It's just a waiting game at this point. Waiting to see what happens, because it's 6 laps. We're 6 laps into a 27 lap race. We've got a long way to go. There's no need to battle right now. And so long as you stay within a second of the car in front of you, you're never really out of it. That's just sort of how Monza works.
Crichton had a small moment touching the curb at Ascari, but then he kept it safe. And actually, let's just say it was a really, really good racing racecraft from everyone, especially the overtakes we saw at the La Roja chicane, because you don't really understand how tight the chicane is. And to go through with 2 cars, it's really, really difficult. You really need to be careful. So GG to the drivers who attempted the maneuver there.
Leo's got plenty of speed underneath him. He actually used a fair bit of battery coming out of Parabolica, I noticed. So I reckon he was trying to pass Crichton, but Crichton, he just put the car in the middle of the road, held Leo off, probably put 40 under a little bit of pressure as they go into Della Roggia here. You can see trying to avoid those orange curves as best they can. Behind is still High Contrast, Darren 11, Vision, Spicy. ACW Plevs, Ferrari Pro rounds out the top 10. As Hilles overtakes Sire Luke. That was at the exit, it seems. No, the entry, rather, of the Della Roggia chicane. So we've had another pass there. That was for 17th position. The leaders head through Variante Ascari. They're heading down the back straightaway. Yeah, you can see the battery situation. 70-odd% for Crichton. You compare to 40, he's got 54%. Leo on 57. By contrast, he's just entered the 50s going into Parabolica. And Crichton's a little bit closer this time around. He's using a bit of battery. Just a little bit of battery. He'll open DRS and close in on the race leader. Gaining, gaining, gaining. He looks to the inside. He's going to go for a move into the Rettifilio chicane. Gets in front and he retakes the lead. Leo right behind, waiting for his opportunity to strike. Now around Curva Grande, heading up towards Variante della Roggia. Can 40 find a way by him? I don't think he wants to. I think it'd be smarter to just stay behind, try and save a little bit of battery. Or as Crichton has a wiggle coming out of the chicane, costing him a little bit of time. Around the first Lesmo curve, heading up towards the second. Darren 11 has closed in on high contrast as well. The gap 0.2 of a second between those cars as they head down towards Variante Ascari. Darren isn't really in a position now to attack high contrast for fourth, but he is right on his gearbox as they headed into the Ascari chicane. Heading out of it, Darren closes in a little bit more. 40 is on the back of Crichton, heading down the back straightaway towards Parabolica, and he actually backed out quite a bit there.
Yeah. He kind of parked it.
Interesting. Oh, here comes 40. He'll open DRS. Will he use any battery? No, he's not using any battery, but he is closing in on Crichton. He looks to the inside, heading down into turn 1, sends it in deep. Crichton leaves the door open, and 40 retakes the lead at the beginning of lap 9. And ooh, indeed, as Crichton here had a moment coming out to turn 2.
I think there was a small touch from Leo, who's lost the run as well, and night contrast is all over him now.
Leo, though, gets enough speed at the exit of Curva Grande to hang on to third place for now. But yeah, high contrast had a small opportunity to try and attack Leo, but seems that Leo covered him off pretty well. So they head around the second Lesmo. Now, it didn't take long for 40 to retake the lead, sort of demonstrating how much pace he has in that Ferrari. He has got a lot of pace in that car.
And now it's starting to get cloudy. I don't know if you noticed it, but it's starting to get cloudy here. Only lap 9, so we'll see when the rain is gonna hit.
Down towards Parabolica. The gap between Crichton and Ford, I think, is a little bit too much for Crichton to attack down into turn 1. Leo, though, he's right there. He is using a fair bit of battery. He'll open DRS. He'll switch it off. Crichton has got plenty of battery in reserve to try and hold off Leo. Half covers the inside. And Leo unable to attack into turn 1. And not into turn 2 either. But he's right on the back of the Mercedes. In fact, everyone's on the back of one another, to be quite honest.
And considering the speed traps, I think Leo's got like a slight less downforce in his setup.
Yep.
Because he was a bit quicker than Crichton. I mean, he used a lot of battery, but then at the peak speed, he was 1 or 2 kilometers per hour faster than Crichton. So we'll see if he's gonna struggle when the rain hits.
Now, he just had to change position. Plebs has gone in front of ACW, and you can see the gap between Plebs and Spicy. It's over a second, so Plebs is now a sitting duck. Ferrari Pro is getting in on the action as well, looking down the inside, but actually backs out of it. And Plebs somehow hangs on to P8 as well, without any DRS assistance. And he's now back to within a second of Spicy in front. So maybe the two cars behind didn't want to overtake Plebs. Didn't want to create a battle at turn 8. If that was the case, that was the right thing to do, because if they did battle, they would have lost time to the top 7. That's Gilles who was spun.
Yeah.
On the inside curb at turn 10, he gets going again. He's now down in 18th position.
That's how unforgiving Ascari is sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, you get caught out once. Yeah, it's it can be race ending, quite literally, at Ascari, if you're really, really unlucky. So.
And if you don't crush, you lose all your confidence on the throttle if you spin out there. So.
And here comes Crichton. He's looking down the inside into the first Lesmo curve, sends it in deep, and gets in front of the Ferrari. 40 had a moment coming out of Variante della Roggia. He lost quite a bit of time, and Crichton capitalised on the situation. He now takes the lead, but I think 40 might take it back in a few moments' time. Not here, though. You can see he switches off DRS. In fact, he lifted a few times just to stay behind Crichton. He's going to try and line up an overtake on the main straightaway. Down the back straight.
Yeah. Both drivers are really aggressive. They're using every single apex.
Around Parabolica. Final corner on the circuit. And Crichton's going to be a bit of a sitting duck. Here comes Ford. He'll open DRS. Now, and he should slingshot by Crichton like it's nothing. And that's exactly what it's like. You'll get him before the braking zone even. Crichton then feigns to the inside, attempting a move, but doesn't really commit to it. Now, contact between Eye Contrast and Darren 11. Now Darren and Vision are battling for position. This is for P5 on the track. Around Curva Grande, Darren gets in front. Vision's got pace. Not enough, though, to try and attack into turn 4. Yeah, a little bit of contact. Ooh.
He got 2 overtakes in the 2 chicanes, basically. He overtook Ferrari Pro in the first chicane, and now he's overtaking ACW at the De La Roja. These mediums are starting to drop off massively.
Well, yeah. See where the medium runners are now. Yeah, ACW, Ferrari Pro, and Bags. All of them on the mediums. Vision is currently the highest placed car on the medium compound tyre, and he's in P6. Now, he's still in this massive DRS train, and he doesn't appear to be slow, Vision. Not at all. He seems to be all right. But yeah, the other medium runners have dropped down a few places. So
yeah, but the longer you go, the worse you will get for the medium runners.
Yep, pretty much. Around Parabolica come our race leaders back onto the main straightaway. Leo once again is close. 2/10 behind Crichton. He opens DRS and he sits right in the slipstream, but he's not gaining enough to try and attack Crichton into turn 1. Deep on the brakes, bringing it down to second gear, clipping the first apex, clipping the second. You see the 2 in front get a great run out of the opening chicane, and Leo can do nothing but just wait.
It's raining.
P3.
It's raining.
Yes, it is. Good spot. See the rain on the halo. So that didn't take 30 minutes in. That's how long is that? About 15 minutes. Took half as long.
Yeah, about 20. Yeah, about 20. But we'll see now. Like, of course, it started to rain, but we'll see how much the track will evolve, like negatively, of course. And Wogboy's on Inters already.
I think that's just a gamble for Wogboy, considering his position on the track.
Yeah.
He's just trying something desperately. See if it works. I doubt it, though. But we'll find out what the rest of the drivers do in a few moments' time. And this might spice up the racing quite a bit, because everyone's been stuck in a DRS train, unable to overtake anybody. Maybe with the rain, that might actually open up a few overtaking opportunities around the racetrack, especially to those who are brave enough to go for those moves.
Exactly, and especially for the hard runners, which are, for example, behind Vision, they need to get past now, because they actually have more pace than him at this moment. Not that much, but they're going to be a bit quicker. The only thing is that the mediums keep higher temperatures, so if it starts raining... Oh, and Vision at the moment. Let's see if Spicy goes for a move now. No, he can't. And medium tires have higher temperatures, so they will help you in this phase, because the hards will tend to drop off in terms of temperature. But they surely have less pace than the hards that the guys have, like, for example, Spicy, Plebs, and Spilly.
Now, I think Crichton would like to go for a move sooner rather than later, knowing his style of driving. He likes to be in front when it comes to the pit cycles. And look at him close in. He's looking to the inside here, and he will get in front of 40 into Variante Ascari. He takes the race lead back.
40 was about to lose the car. The entry was Ascari.
Oh, and there's the call.
Disabled.
So that did not take long at all. So maybe... Oh, and a spin! It's Ferrari Pro who has spun. Losing it at the exit of Ascari. And he plummets down the leaderboard. Now, I reckon everybody's going to pit. Yep. In come the race leaders. In comes Leo. Out stays Eye Contrast. Oh, it's a bit of a scramble at pit entry. But in they come. Intermediate tyres at the ready. Look at that lovely bright yellow suits that the Ferrari crew have, and away he leaves. Oh, ew. I think that was lag. And I think, yeah, that's impacted Crichton. Look, he's down in ninth. He's behind Ford. He's behind Leo. He's behind Vision. He has been absolutely shafted in the pit lane.
What the hell's happened?
Don't know. He's been held. That's the only thing I can think of. He's been held. Big time.
Wow.
So, Crichton has been absolutely shafted. He's now got work to do, and he's not going to muck around either. He won't be in a happy mood. And look, he's lining up Vision already. Vision not putting up too much of a fight there. I reckon he understands the battle that he's in, so he's let Crichton through. Yeah. He's got a bit of work to do, the Mercedes driver. Just a little bit. See if he can catch up.
Yeah,
Right.
and now it's going to be really tricky for everyone, basically, because I don't think many people have practiced in the rain, and if they have the dry setup, the car is going to start to unsettle big time in the high-speed corners.
And look at these guys on slick tyres. They are tiptoeing their way into pit lane. So evidently staying out that extra lap really, really didn't help. Oh, and Spicy almost goes into... Oh, and the spin for 10th. That's a Parabolica, demonstrating how little grip there is out on track right now. 40's now arriving on the scene. There is Sandals moving into pit lane.
Watch out, because Contrast can get in front of Crichton. It's going to be really close. And he will. He actually will.
Oh, not quite. Down towards the Rettifilio chicane. Crichton goes deep on the brakes as Ferrari Pro retires, crashing out at Variante Ascari, and we have a safety car.
Oh. Imagine if they stayed one more lap out on this hard. They would have won the lottery. Oh my.
There is Ferrari Pro's Williams out to the race. And this has saved the likes of Gilles, Luke, Grimmy, and Karma. This is what they needed to bring themselves back into this race. But what a blow for Ferrari Pro. Just lost control and put it into the barrier. And I think everyone will move on to the Yep, everyone's now on the intermediate tyre.
Yes, they are.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a big loss for Crichton. Unlucky for him. Really unlucky.
Yeah, no, I've been on the receiving end of that. Recently, actually, I did Formula Endurance, where I lost my colleague. I lost my Italian buddy. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin as soon as possible. But no, I was on the receiving end of being shafted down pit lane. It does happen from time to time, and it happened to Crichton just then. So this safety car has helped him out quite a bit, to be honest. Because he did have to close in about 1.5 seconds to the top two. Welcome back, Marco.
I don't know what happened. I just lost connection for like half a second.
It got you out of the lobby as well.
Yeah, that's what happened to me actually on Sunday as well in the Elite Series. I lost connection for a second with plebs.
Oh dear.
And yeah, I had to rejoin, but it wasn't a safety car period, so I got lucky.
Well, it's under a safety car period here as well, so that's a coincidence there. But no, I was mentioning earlier this safety car has helped a few drivers out, including Crichton. Because yeah, he was about 1.5 seconds behind the top two. Now he's essentially right on the back of them. So he'll be able to race Leo and Ford at the front of the field. Be interesting to see who else will get involved in that fight as well. See if Icon Trust can do it. Vision's had a pretty solid race so far, currently P5. And he did well on those medium compound tyres as well. Did a super job on those mediums. He's in a really solid position. Look at Spilly up 8 places. He's had a stellar race so far. He's made the most amount of places out of anybody. He's gone up from 14th up to 6th. He's done a great job. Darren down a couple of positions, but he's still in the top 10. Plebs up 1, Spicy down 2, ACW still inside the top 10. Bags up 1, Wogboy up 4, and now he has the opportunity to make up more places as well. And Luke up 5 as well after not being able to set a lap time. And in fact, he's not even in his car, I've just noticed. It's just ghosting about, so I'm guessing he's just in AI mode. Unable to connect to the session, maybe? I'm not sure. But yeah. No, this is going to be an interesting few laps here in intermediate conditions. See who adapts well. Would you make any setup changes in the pit lane? Would you increase front wing for these conditions? Or will you just try and fight it out?
Well, it depends whether the drivers decided to get like a compromise setup for qualifying or not.
Yeah.
I think if I had like a dry setup, I would raise my front wing for sure. But that would make the car even more unsettled on wet conditions, because in wet conditions you need the really stable rear end, not the front end. I guess it's going to be tricky for everyone, to be honest. I think the only thing they can change is differential, because you need a more locked setup in wet conditions. So I think the drivers will have raised already like differential to 100 or 95%. And yeah, I think it's going to be a big struggle for everyone. And also, let's see if it starts raining more, because if it does rain more, then the drivers will have to decide if to lose 25 seconds and put wets, or just stay out and
fight on the intermediate tyre.
Exactly. And I can tell you that in this track, you really fight the car even in dry conditions. So if you fight it on dry conditions, imagine how it would be with a dry setup on the wet.
And on the intermediate tyre, it would be a nightmare, basically. Gotten worse. Seems the rain has remained to be quite light, so Karma's gone back into the pits. Not totally sure why. Let's find out. Is it just fresh tyres or a front wing change for Karma? Let's see. No, it's just tyres, fresh tyres. Not really a massive pace advantage with fresher rubber, but hey ho. It's a slight pace advantage, and he will be able to catch up to the tail of the field. It won't take him too long to catch up. Alright. But no, credit to the drivers as well. We've gone this long without a safety car, and it's remained incredibly competitive, especially in the top 12. So
yeah, and it's remained incredibly clean as well in terms of racecraft. So no, it's been a nice race. Safety car in this lap, so Karma, you better get a move on, bud. You better get a move on. He's currently heading towards the first Lesmo as the leaders make their way down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. So yeah, Karma, mate, got a bit of catching up to do, son. As 40 weaving about on the back straight, desperately trying to get temperature into his tyres. He'll get to decide when to go back on the green flag racing. It'll be interesting to see where he does it. Safety car's gone back into the pits. You can see 40. Actually, he's taken off now. Right at the beginning of Parabolica, of all places. He gets a nice run. He's built up 6.5 tenths already on GeForce Leo as they head down the main straightaway and begin lap 20 of 27. We have got 8 laps to go. Down towards turn 1, Crichton closing in. He looks left, he looks right, but he stays behind Leo in P5. Coming out of Variante Rettifilio. Crichton, can he get a run here? Not quite. Both Leo and Crichton pretty even coming out of turn 2. iContrast has lost a little bit of time to the top 3. He's currently 8.5 tenths behind in P4.
Then Vision is next, followed by Spilly and Darren 11, who is looking down the inside into turn 4. Oh, and off the track goes Spilly at turn 5, and he's going to keep this battle alive, heading towards the first Lesmo. Not quite. Spilly backs out of it and stays in P7. A wiggle there from Darren, losing time to the cars in front. The gap's increased to 1 second between Darren and Vision down the straightaway, heading towards Ascari. See Spilly using a little bit of battery as they head underneath the famous oval overpass into turn 8. Spilly not in a position to attack just yet. But he is right behind Darren, waiting for his moment to strike. It's similar with Crichton here in P3, just 2/10 behind Leo. Where can he find a way by? He doesn't have DRS to help him out. He just needs traction. Needs a bit of straight line speed as well. Sitting in the slipstream of Leo, who is sitting in the slipstream of 40, closing in down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Now Leo, as you mentioned, Marco, in the speed traps, looked pretty fast. So I reckon he could probably hold off Crichton down the straightaways.
Yes, that's what we saw, and but of course Leo is going to struggle more in terms of traction. And yeah, it's going to be pretty tight, because like if you make a mistake here with these gaps, you're going to lose the position 100%.
Big old wheel spin coming out, for example. Yeah, he's now right on the back of Leo now. All over the back of him.
He's gaining a lot in the corners. He gains a lot of time.
Look at them. Can almost smell the gearbox oil coming off the McLaren, and he's dumping his battery. He's going to have a look here to the inside. You need to be awfully committed to try and make a move here. And Crichton, he's good, but he's not that good, and wisely backs out of the move there at turn 8. Out of the Scari now, heading down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. Leo just closing in a little bit on the race leader, thanks to that straight line speed. And that's Grimmy, who was spun at the exit of Ascari. He's now down to 19th.
Yeah, the Ferrari fans will be delighted to see this McLaren, this Mercedes fight, because it will mean it will be easier for Ford to pull away.
Yep. Crichton, though, he's going to have a go here. Down the inside into Variante Rettifilio. Leo fights, though. It's side by side through turn 2. Leo desperately trying to hang on, but Crichton has the traction. He's into P2 now, but he's got a lot of work to do to catch up to race leader Ford. It is 1 second between the top two as I speak. Contrast hovering a bit far behind in 4th. He has Vision closing in the Aston Martin. Darren 11 still in P6, followed by Spilly. Spicy and Wogboy battling for position here. Out of Variante della Roggia, heading up towards the Lesmo curves. Wogboy's close, not close enough though. Trying to attack here. Heading up towards the second Lesmo. Nicely done there from Wogboy, but it seems that Spicy got better traction, and he's pulling away just ever so slightly from Wogboy. Crichton has closed in as well. He's within 8/10 of the race leader. They're heading down the back straightaway towards Parabolica. Just chipping away at that gap. It's very, very fine margins here at Monza. It's absolutely fantastic to see. Plevs closing in on Spilly here. We might see a battle on for P7 in a few moments time. And here comes Plevs, looking around the outside of all places. And he gets by with relative ease. Now, I did mention a battle earlier between Darren 11 and Spilly. Spilly had to take to the inside of the racetrack at turns 4 and 5. And he ran over the sausage curbs. It might be possible that he got floor damage running over those curbs. It is entirely possible. So he might have got a little bit of damage from that battle. We'll have to keep an eye on him though. Through the chicane come the race leaders, heading up towards the first Lesmo curve. Crichton still just chipping away at that gap, finding a few thousandths, a few hundredths here and there, but 40 doing a great job out in front, keeping a nice comfortable gap. 7/10. Oh, a bit of wiggle there from Leo, losing a few precious tenths. You can't afford to lose those tenths, not when the margins are so fine to begin with. Crichton now within 4/10 of the race leader, He is closing in. He has got pace in these conditions. Gets a nice exit out of Ascari as well. Following in the slipstream of the Ferrari in front. He's now 3.5 tenths behind. Into Parabolica. Turn 11. The final corner on the racetrack. And heading back onto the main straightaway. 40 finds a little bit of time at the mid-corner of Parabolica, but he's starting to lose time down the straights. It's now lap 24 of 27. We've got 4 laps to go, and Crichton is closing in. Down towards turn 1, he looks to the inside, but he knows he's too far back to really send it in into turn 1, so he has to stay in P2 for now, but he's got nice drive out of Rettifilio. He is now 3 tenths behind Ford as they head around Curva Grande. Now heading up towards Della Roggia. I don't think Crichton is close enough still to attack here. He just needs a nice run through this chicane, through turn 4, through turn 5, and that's what he gets. Oh no, not quite. A little wiggle, a teeny weeny wiggle, but it didn't cost him too much time. In fact, he is right on the back of Ford, who has a moment at the exit of the first Lesmo. Now, you obviously can't pass at the second Lesmo, but he's got an opportunity to try and pass at Ascari as Leo gets a 3-second time penalty. Down towards turn 8. Crichton looking around the long way. Into the left-hander, sends it in deep. Goes round the outside, runs wide. Runs wide at turn 9. 40 maintains the lead. A wiggle again from the Ferrari. Losing control and ending up in the barrier. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. He's tumbled down the order to 6th, to 7th. Oh, and a virtual. We have a virtual safety car. And look at everyone. They're all coming to a stop. This is the virtual safety car glitch where the deltas are really, really low. So everyone had to come to a dead stop there to avoid getting drive-through penalties. And 40, he'll now have to come into pit lane and fix that front wing.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's a huge shame. Just lost control of the car coming out of Ascari and couldn't quite gather it back up. Full wet tyres being put on 40's car as well. Full wets. Interesting. And you can see the conditions, they are properly heavy right now as the drivers are getting ready to go back on the green flag conditions. Leo, he would be in a position to try and battle for the win, but he's got 3 seconds next to his name, which is going to hurt him quite significantly.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Vision, which is on his debut, can get a podium here. Oh my god, what is going on?
Drive-throughs! Oh my goodness! Look at the drive-throughs! 20-second time penalties for Darren, for Vision, for Spilly, for Plebs, and for Karma. They've all been given drive-throughs. Oh no! They've all been shafted! That means Leo's now magically back onto the podium!
Oh my god, there was 4 drivers who didn't respect the delta, basically. And they got a 20-second penalty because they can't serve a drive-through at this stage.
Oh my goodness! Yellow flags are out. Is that a Ferrari again? It might have been, I'm not sure, but there were yellow flags at Ascari. But no, these fellas have been absolutely shafted. Oh!
What a twist!
2 laps to go here at Monza. What was looking like a really promising fight at the front has turned into drama and chaos. Crichton is at the front of the field. There are yellow flags out. That is Bags Liddell. Oh, it's going from bad to worse for Ferrari. It was looking so promising. But now they're 15th and 18th. What a shocker it's turning into for the Scarlet team. As Zach gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. I'm guessing he did that at the Rettifilio chicane. Oh my goodness me. So as of right now, in fact, Leo could hang on to P2 here. He's got 3.2 seconds to eye contrast, who is crawling around on those intermediate tyres. They have absolutely no grip in these conditions. The drivers are now tiptoeing their way round, desperately trying to find traction. The leaders are heading towards Ascari for the second last time. You can see Crichton just tiptoeing his way through trying to not overdrive the car. He gets out of the chicane well. So does Leo. Contrast is losing time hand over fist, but he doesn't have to worry. The 4 guys behind him have 20-second time penalties. Oh my goodness. Sideways is Crichton. Sideways is Leo as they desperately find traction. Down the main straightaway they go. It's now lap 27 of 27. It's the final lap here at Monza. And these guys, this is going to be a long lap. This is full wet conditions and they're on the intermediate tyre. Spinning his tent sandals in the Aston and he plummets down to 16th position. He's now out of the points. Out of turn 2, heading around Curva Grande. All that these two need to do is keep the car on the racetrack, not make any mistakes, and it's an easy 1-2 for the G-Force outfit. Contrast, he just needs to make it to the end, and that's a podium for him as well. Oh my goodness me.
And watch out for Ford, because now he's gaining a lot of time to the others. Now he's in the points.
Yeah, he's 15th now.
It's still a consolation prize for...
what's happened. So...
yeah, exactly.
Leo has caught up to Crichton as well. Crichton skating out of the second Lesmo. The gap is 0.3 of a second between these two cars, but surely survival is the top priority for both of them. They don't need to race now. Surely in these conditions. Through turn 8. Through turn 9, up towards turn 10 at a snail's pace. They get out of the chicane. Only one corner remains, but they have to worry about the straightaway before it as they desperately try to find traction. Up towards Parabolica for the final time. Crichton chucks it in, nice and steady on the accelerator. Heading out to Parabolica as slow as you can be, up towards the line. It's Crichton who wins the Italian Grand Prix. Leo will come home in second. It'll be Eye Contrast completing the podium in third. And watch the time penalties take effect. ACW up to 4th, Spicy up to 5th, Chip up to 6th, Wild Boy up to 7th. 40 finishes 8th.
8.
Luke up to 9th. Hill's 10th, followed by Zach, then Darren 11, Vision, Plebs, and Spilly. Oh my giddy aunt. Ah, what an ending. What's that absolutely dramatic ending that was. Drivers desperately trying to make it to the finish. And amazingly, even with these conditions, we didn't add on to the retirement list. Not one. We almost added one with 40. Oh, gee whiz. That's a first for me, seeing an ending like this. Seeing guys on inters trying to survive in wet conditions. My goodness. Sire Luke was given driver of the day as well. We'll see his performance in the final results screen. But for now, it's podium celebrations. And this is a big result for Crichton. This will extend his championship lead by a significant amount. It's a big result. He kept it together when it mattered most. He'll stand on the top step tonight. P2 to GeForce Leo, another big result from the McLaren driver and a first podium for Eye Contrast in this season of racing. P3 finish for the AlphaTauri driver. Oh, I'll be.
What a race.
Quite right, Marco. Quite right. So, the unofficial results of the Italian Grand Prix. GeForce Crichton, your race winner tonight, followed by GeForce Leo in the McLaren, and Eye Contrast completing the podium. ACW was next in P4, followed by Spicy in 5th, then CBF Chip, then Wogboy Ford recovers to 8th. Luke, actually that would be the AI of Luke, no less. I just noticed the timer as well, so I'll quickly go through the leaderboard. I wasn't able to read out all the names. But, because, yeah, I didn't realise how little time left I had on the timer. So, my bad on that end. Oh, but yeah. That was a race. That was a race. Plenty of drama. Plenty of just weird things happening. Just weird things.
Really unpredictable race.
Quite right. Yeah. That's one way of putting it. We'll go to the virtual showroom. Get this loaded up, hopefully. Right, we'll be back in a few moments. We'll invite the top three for a few questions. Thank you very much for that, Pato. Oh my goodness.
Is it Icon Trust F1?
Yes.
Like Icon Trust account? Okay, add it.
Wowee. That was something. Hello, Zach.
Hey, Lane. Marco, how are we?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad besides that pit lane glitch, but it's alright.
Yeah, noticed that.
Yeah.
Hello, Icon Trust as well.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Marco.
How you doing, guys?
Not a bad effort from you today, Icon Trust.
Thanks, just trying to redeem myself after the past few races.
Yeah, no, you kept it up in the top 5 pretty much all race. Qualified well as well. And
Yeah, I was happy with that quali lap.
hello, Leo, as well. Now,
Oh.
I'll just quickly adjust audio while I remember that I should do that. Do that one, and do that one. Okay, all good. Just making sure. Right, so thank you, all three of you, for joining us here in the comms box just to answer a few questions. We'll go from third and we'll make our way up as usual. So start with you, Icon Trust. First podium of the season, and at Monza as well. Must be a pretty nice feeling to finally get back on the podium.
Yeah, it is. I love the Temple of Speed, one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, so it's good to regroup here and get some momentum, hopefully, for the championship.
Now let's talk about qualifying. You managed to put it on the front row of the grid, setting a pretty nice lap time as well, a very low 1 minute 19. How was it?
Yeah, it was great. I don't know if you saw, but I just crossed the line, I think, with 1 second left on the clock to
really?
go. So it was 1 second
Alright.
away from not even getting that time in. On my second run, I took a gamble with the tyre pressures, didn't pay off, so I went back to my original setup. And then, yeah, I just managed to squeak in the fourth run with 1 second on the clock and managed to get the lap together.
Yeah, no. It was because I thought qualifying had ended, and Marco actually pointed out that you were still on a flying lap. I didn't even notice. And then flicked to you, you vaulted up. I think it was from fourth up to second with that lap time. But no, a mega effort at the end of qualifying. But how was the race on your end?
The race was pretty chaotic, especially towards the end. I don't know what the other drivers were dealing with in terms of tyre temps, but
Yeah.
as the rain started coming down towards the end, my temperatures went down to 60 degrees when the optimal working window is around 75 degrees. So I was just basically trying to keep it on the track at that point.
Yeah, no, that final phase of the race was absolutely nuts. I think it changed to full wet conditions for the final 4 laps, and yeah, it was interesting to watch you fellas basically tiptoe your way around this place, losing the back end at every corner. But no, you kept it up in the top 5 pretty much all race. Was it just sort of conserve at the start and try and attack at the end? Was that the game plan?
I was very conservative at the start. I had a decent launch, so obviously what goes on in turn 1, you go for any position available. But after that, yeah, I kind of got swamped after being overtaken once, I think, by Crichton. And then I kind of had a backwards momentum, lost 3 positions in the space of a lap. But then regathered myself. Luckily, I was running a lot lower downforce, so I'm not sure if the other guys had a bit more downforce for the rain, but I was struggling pretty bad in the rain segment of the race.
Yeah. But I did manage to notice you were losing a time hand over fist in those final laps to the top two.
Yeah.
Tense every corner.
I was trying to stay within the 3 seconds, but I didn't have the pace. Simply couldn't. I was just battling to keep it on the track at that point.
Well, at the end of the day, you ended up crossing the line without binning the car, especially in those conditions where it's so easy to do so. So P3 result is still very, very good. Marco, have you got anything to ask iContrast?
First of all, congratulations, Contrast. Good to have you back here. What a start! Like, what a start you had.
Thanks, mate.
Tell us some more about it.
I actually googled how to do decent starts, and since the start of this season, and I found some tips on YouTube, and they've been working for every race so far for decent starts. So I'll keep doing the exact same thing, try to recreate the same thing.
There you go.
And yeah,
can trust Google, I guess.
Yeah.
But no,
I was pretty happy with how the start went. I need to, I guess, get my elbows out a bit more with defending. But yeah, I was just trying to stick within the DRS train and look at the long game.
Yep, fair enough. Especially here at Monza. Like, it's so difficult to make moves here at Monza when you're in the middle of that DRS train. So I think a conservative approach is probably a far more sensible option at the beginning of a race. So I think you made the right call at the end of the day. But one final question. Next week, we're heading over to the brand new Miami International Autodrome. What are your thoughts heading into next week?
I like track. I'll be keen to give that a league race. Haven't been league racing there before, only open lobbies, so excited to do some competitive racing there.
I reckon you're the first guy I've interviewed that's actually said something positive about the racetrack, so that's...
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people aren't looking forward to it. So, I guess, it's a bit like that with certain racetracks. You either love them or you don't. So, well, it's good then that you're looking forward to next week. Best of luck for next week, and congratulations on your P3 finish.
Thanks for that, mate. Cheers.
We'll move on to P2. Leo, nice performance from you today, mate. Another podium finish. You must be pretty pleased at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. Gained some points on 40, which is good. But
yeah,
it was a pretty tricky race, but still good points, I think.
Well, it seemed pretty controlled on your end. For sort of the beginning phase of the race, it seemed like you were just sort of following Crichton and 40 around, just waiting for a moment to strike. Was that the case from your end?
Yeah. I always seem to be the third guy in the DRS train at the moment, which is annoying because I was like, there was a few times I was pretty close to them.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
At the last corner, and then I use all my areas down the straight, and I just can't take there's not much you can do from third, but yeah, it was just kind of chilling. Hopefully, they battle and I can come through. But yeah.
But also, how was qualifying on your end?
It was okay. It wasn't a bad lap, but
yeah.
I messed up both my bankers in the first lap, which it's good to get a good banker at the start and then build from that, but that was unfortunate. But there was definitely a lot more time in that lap, but it wasn't too bad.
If I recall correctly, it was P3?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Starting on the second row. But, how was the final phase of that race with the intermediate conditions? How was it on your end?
Oh, yeah, that was horrible.
I know data for a second.
Yeah, I don't think I've hit an apex the whole time, to be honest. It was really hard, but I didn't expect to pull away from Crichton that much. I thought he'd have me, but still not too bad.
But, you also got a time penalty. That hurt, didn't it?
That did hurt. I was a bit frustrated about that, because maybe if I didn't get that, I could have gone for Crichton, because he was...
Absolutely.
A few mistakes.
I reckon you could have.
Yeah, it was a very tricky condition, so...
But no, you managed to get through it all, which is a really important thing. Especially when you're stuck on intermediate tyres in full wet conditions. Survival has just got to be the top priority. And you did exactly that, so... Marco, have you got anything to ask Leo?
Well, congratulations to you, Leo, as well. Like, it was really tricky, I reckon, like, to keep the car on track on these conditions. Yeah, as you said, like, I thought you would have had a run on Crichton, but then it was really wise from you also to stay in second considering the penalty you had. And it's been already 3 podiums consecutively. Do you think you can keep that run?
Hopefully. I mean, I've gained quite a few points on 40, so should be looking good the championship at the moment, but I think I got to win a race to really boost myself up into the championship, but you know, beating these guys is pretty hard.
Well, I reckon you will overtake Ford in the Drivers' Championship after this, because there's only 4 points separating you as of right now. So, yeah, and 40 ended up finishing 8th, and that was thanks to 4 guys getting drive-throughs with that final
Lucky
VSC.
bloke. Plus, he had those wets too, like, come on.
Yeah, he pitted onto the wet tyre as well. He carved his way through.
Yeah, lucky man.
He got a bit lucky. But yeah, no, you got P8 in the end, so
Yeah.
he scored something. But final question for you, Leo. Next week we're heading over to Miami. What's your thoughts heading into next week?
Yeah, it's a tricky track, but I did a league race at OSRL a few weeks ago, and I had some decent pace.
All right.
You know, I know a bit from the track, from that race, so yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we could do well. I think it's go alright. I think.
Well, a bit of prior knowledge doesn't hurt anybody, so best of luck to you next week for Miami. But for now, mate, congratulations on another podium finish, a P2 finish here at Monza.
Thank you, boys.
We'll move on to our race winner, Crichton. You did it again. No,
Yeah, finally.
you won at Spa and you win here at Monza. How about that?
I know. I wasn't even driving a Ferrari, so let's go.
No, you were in a Mercedes to all the
Yeah, I don't see a Ferrari on the podium actually, so yeah, quite happy about that.
No Ferrari related anything. The only remotely Ferrari thing is, I guess, I contrast in an AlphaTauri, which is Italian.
Yeah.
So that's it. But no, this was a nice performance from you again. You battled with Ford at the beginning of the race, which was quite entertaining to watch. And you seem to be Mr. Conservative today. You were saving a lot more battery than what you usually do.
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah, well, first off, my quali didn't really go to plan. I felt like I'd say my lap wasn't good, and I knew that I had to nail it because my setup was more race focused. So I knew I had to nail the lap to hopefully try and get a front row, which didn't really happen. But my start was insane. Like I thought I was really going to lead out of turn 1 and 2, but wasn't quite enough. So and then that first stint I was really just trying to chill, just sit behind Bailey and then just pass him when I needed. And I saw the rain was coming, so I was trying to time to pass him, I guess, just before we pitted, which worked out. And then we boxed, and no idea what happened in the pits, like glitch or something.
Yeah, got held.
Never happened to me. Then I think I came out in P5 or P6, and then luckily a few guys went one lap longer, so I managed to get a couple back. And then as soon as it rained, I was like, yes, let's go. But still I was kind of worried because I was third in the train and I wasn't sure how Bailey's and Leo's pace was going to be, so I was not too sure, but the car was really, really good. Really happy with it. I just managed to carve my way through and win it, and then Bailey dropped it.
Those final few laps though looked interesting.
They were indeed. So I think I passed, I'm trying to think, where did I pass Leo? Maybe turn 1 or down the back straight. So I managed to pass him and then just close up on Bailey, who had about 1.5 second lead on me. So just closed in and tried to go for a move around the outside heading into Ascari, and then that set me up for and then just for the inside coming I guess, out of Ascari, then Bailey ran wide and dropped it. So, unfortunate for him, but, you know, you kind of got to finish first to finish. Wait, no, sorry, you need to finish first. Sorry, there we go.
Yeah. Well, he did finish. He just finished in 8th.
Yeah, you got lucky with that one.
Yeah, no, usually when you have a moment at Ascari, you don't come out the other side.
No.
But, no, he did, to his credit.
No, I saw him drop it there, and I was like, here we go, should be nice, 30 points here for me, and hopefully 0 for him, but somehow I got lucky with the wets and the virtual safety car there.
I've just noticed in the chat as well, 40's calling me lucky. Well,
he's lucky. Cracked under pressure and dropped it, so, you know, if you want to fight for this championship, you have to finish every race, because I tend to not hand out 3 points, usually.
The rivalry's on between you two.
Yeah, well, I know he wants it really bad, so he's got to come and get it if he wants it.
Marco, have you got anything to ask our race winner?
Well, congratulations, Zach, for your race win. As we were racing in Italy, I'm gonna pretend to be an Italian journalist in this case. So the question is, with that scrap with Ford, don't you think that rejoin was a bit over the line?
My rejoin, or
yeah, when I mean, I'm joking, of course, but talk us through.
He's talking as a Ferrari fan, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so I sent it in there pretty hot. And then Bailey braked quite late as well. Kind of had nowhere to go, so we just out on the green. Then had to back it off and slide in behind. And I think Bailey was just slightly narrow. Then he probably just got on the power a touch too early, and that's where he dropped it on the curb. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but we'll take it.
All that Bailey was doing was mimicking the real-life Ferrari Formula 1 team.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if my memory's correct, I think back in another league someone else dropped it there too.
Oh dear.
So Bailey will love that one when he hears it, but yeah.
Nah, by the way, congratulations. It was a really good race for me.
Yeah, and stuff. It was a really good battle there with Bailey at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You both had
always
really,
clean
really
back. Oh
race.
yeah, for sure. Plus it's always clean. We know how we're both gonna drive, so
yeah,
it's always a bit of fun and stuff. And now having Leo there as well, it's really, really good. And yeah, I guess another top 2 finish for the G-Force boys, so we'll take it. Move on to next one.
Speaking of next one, what are your thoughts heading into Miami?
Miami, not a fan.
There you go, another negative one.
Not really a fan. I haven't done many laps there, really, to be honest. Like same as here tonight.
Yeah.
I think I'd only done a couple of 5-lap lobbies here, and that was really it until this afternoon. But I'm not too sure for the strategy when we head over to Miami, if it's medium hard or soft hard or what. But again, it should be a pretty interesting race there as well.
Oh,
a couple overtaking zones too, so should be good.
Well, best of luck then for next week. But for now, congratulations on winning the Italian Grand Prix. Well done, Zach.
Cheers, Lee. Cheers, Marco.
Well, Marco, I think that will wrap everything up. An interesting race today. Had a big pole from 40 and 18.7.
Yeah, that lap was insane from Bailey. That was really good. I have to say,
3/10
he nailed it. I know. He nailed it. He made me look silly.
Like
half a second off.
Like the gap from P1 down to the last time in P19 was 1.1 seconds.
Yeah.
The gap from
If you
P2
take
to
Bailey's,
P19 it's 8/10.
Yeah. No, that was a stonking lap there from Bailey. Very impressive.
Incredible lap. Yeah. Put it all together when it mattered. Unfortunately, he lost it during the race. It could have been a podium, but no, wasn't to be.
He got second.
Of course you would say that. But no, an interesting race full of ups and downs, and an AI got driver of the day. So good to see Codemasters don't put any bias towards their own AI whatsoever. But no, thank you, Marco, for joining me once again. Your help is dearly appreciated. I'm sorry that you didn't get to see a Ferrari on the podium tonight. Those things happen.
Yeah, no worries. As I always say, it's always a pleasure to be here, and arrivederci and see you next time.
Well, with everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator, as always, is GeForce Pato. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for round 4 of the championship at the brand new Miami International Autodrome for the Miami Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.